A Miss Styles production.
It is video time. I just did some quick modern day, the best you can do with these limited search engine Google search results, research on some things that I have had suspicions about when it comes to the differences between male and women. Male and females, or men and women. And I've had these discussions with other men, and they always end up in a dead end, because I'm not really ready to debate. Like, I don't really want to have a debate. I want to have a discussion. And it kind of turns into, usually, not all the time, but it kind of turns into a debate. But I just got finished researching a hell of a lot of stuff, like just different things, and I want to share it. It was very interesting. Definitely, it definitely like addresses stereotypes, like whether or not men are more logical than women, whether or not women are more emotionally, well, I'm going to say emotionally unstable, which is, and whether or not that's a weakness when it, versus men, and some other stuff. So one of the first things I looked up was, I've had a suspicion about this, the size of the auric fields between men and women. And to my non-surprise, women have a larger auric field. And I wasn't surprised about that, because I believe that nature, if you truly understand sacred geometry, right? If you truly understand the flow of energy, then you will understand, like, you can put pieces together yourself. And so if in our physical expression, we seem to be more in tuned spiritually, then that's going to be reflected somewhere else, right? And or vice versa, in our spiritual, well, I'll say in our, yeah, vice versa. So, but I'm about to explain the spiritual side. But there's another aspect too, because this is spiritual, but it's physical. We are the creative faculties in the flesh. So it is our bodies that are used as portals to bring in new souls. There is no debate about that. We are the gestation architect during that process for those 9 months. There's no debate about that. Now, where the soul comes from, the man or the woman, you can debate that somewhere else, and we can have that discussion at another time. But I'm talking about the nature of these aspects right here, which means that the woman is the creative faculty of spirituality. She is the creative force. What it does not mean, and this is the where dual nature comes in, and how we have a little bit of male in us while they have a little bit of female in them, right? And we're talking about energies. Of course they can create, and they can, manifest, and they can utilize and interact with the laws of attraction and the laws of the universe, of course. However, what it just like they can do that, we are still the, almost the custodian, or the natural master alchemist of those energies, because of the nature that we were born within. Just like we have both of us have male and female energies, but we are the expression of the female, while they are the expression of the male in the physical and spiritual and all the things, you know what I mean? So when I saw that, I wasn't surprised about that, because you should be able to see that you should be able to see signs that women are a stronger creative faculty in different areas. Like, you should be able to see this. And so I saw that. Then another thing, I started digging, and it also explained that a larger auric field generally indicates that there's more spiritual activity, and vice versa. A smaller field usually means there's less activity in that field, which makes sense. Okay. And then also, I was looking at different things. Like, I remember I came across this one article. These were research articles too, and I didn't save them all because I was just trying to answer questions in my mind. So the one of the ones was, it was like, it was talking about it wasn't specifically speaking about the prefrontal cortex, but it did speak about the differences in brain functions between men and women. And it talked about how men use more of their gray matter, while women use more of their white matter, which represents higher functions, which contributes to the ability to multitask and problem solve and things like that. While for men, I think the gray matter is one of the reasons why they are more tunneled vision, and they kind of focus in on a thing, and block everything else out. And so what it also went on to explain is that those higher functions actually make the woman more logical than men. And I had a suspicion about that. I had a suspicion when I've said this before to different men. Like, they keep saying men are more logical, but that's not true. Men are not more logical. They'll say men are logical and women are emotional. It is true that women are emotional, but it's also true that women are very, very logical. And I know because I'm one of them, okay? But this is a generalized thing because I have discussions with women. I grew up around women. Like, this is nothing special with me. And then not only that, but I interact with men, and men often do not understand, like, the most basic things that are so basic to women. They don't get it. And they don't get it because of, number one, the way that they operate, and also number two, because they have things that are missing. Okay, that's the best way to say it. There are things that are missing that make them have the inability to understand certain things. And so when you try to explain to them these missing pieces, they'll never be able to really get it because they can't share the perspective. Now, on the other hand, we not only have our perspective, but because their perspective is included in our perspective, we actually can understand ourselves plus understand them, which is also a contributing factor to why a female energy would be the proper energy to nurture a community or a family, if you will. So I'm looking at this, and mind you, this ain't got nothing to do with male versus female. I have a right to try to figure out what I am and who I am as a woman. So if you're on that kick, that ain't my problem. Just go somewhere else. Like, straight up. So in any case, so I kept digging. And so I figured out the auric field. I went back. I answered my questions about the suspicion, about the logic. It was something else too. I was running across information about, the original creative, the gods were females. They were females before they turned into men. And a lot of the stuff we know, but I was trying to put the pieces together. Dang, I don't want to stop this video. Hold on real quick. I think I'm gonna have to stop it. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. It might not stop it. Okay, so it did stop the video, but this also, you can see this in the trend, like in the behavior sets. Like, for example, I looked up certain things like, the power, the spiritual dynamic, the spiritual power differences between men and women. And I could not get any type of research information on that. I couldn't even find an article of opinion on that. However, what I did find were the statistics on the participation of women in the spiritual systems versus men, and we participate far more than they do, okay? Which means that there is a natural gravitation that we have towards that specific system. Why am I saying all this? Okay, do I have a conclusion? Because I like to conclude the stuff. I knew I wanted to share it, so let me try to conclude this. Basically this. I keep talking about how in our community, and I'm going to keep saying it because, I mean, if you have recent conversations with me in the flesh, you'll know I keep talking about this. But in our community, the roles are out of order. The focus is out of order. The men are not, they're not adhering to the proper order and the matriarchy in the way that they're supposed to. And because of that, there are consequences that are occurring with us, not definitely to them, but it's not just them. Like, we're all taking the heat for this. But to the women, I do not think that they have the capacity to change it. I don't think that they will change it. I think that it's going to be up to the women. We'll have those discussions in the future. But I did want to say this, also, like, the more we move away from the respect and honor of the woman and how her place is the center of the household and not the male, the more chaotic and dysfunctional our families become and our communities become. And I'm always getting information. Like, first of all this stuff comes from the universe. It comes from the divine. Like, it's brought to me, and then I'm like nudged to just do the research because somebody's going to ask questions and not believe anything always. So in any case, plus I'm trying to figure it out too. So in any case, I had this discussion tonight with a dear friend of mine, and she was talking about how back in when she was younger, she witnessed, how the women had a very profound position within the household. The way she said it at first, I had to correct, and then she acknowledged what I was saying. She was saying it, but the way she said it reflected the energy that was existing at that time and that we still kind of carry. And what it was that she was saying how the men will go to work, they will come home, but the women took care of the household. But when we hear that, we think domestic labor, which is not true. And we say it that way because when we're dealing with men, we understand, we know the beings in our family, and we know that we need to nurture, we need to tend to their egos. Like, we have to tend to the male ego. We don't really have a choice about that because this is how they're designed. So while they have a figurehead role and we may vocalize it like that, what's actually happening is that she's structured. She literally is governing the entire family, the entire home. And a lot of us, when we think back to recent generations, just the generation right before us, and then going back further than that, in structured, healthy homes, this is how it was. The men will go to work. They bring back their paycheck. The women took care of everything. They took care of the financial responsibilities. They took care of the ordering, the running of the household. They took care of the rearing of the children. They took care of nurturing the man. She took care of the extended family responsibilities and duties. She took care of all these other things. But he specifically dealt with bringing in the money, because you have to pay homage to source, and she is source. Okay. So bringing in the money, and then also fixing things around the home. Other than that, he was like basically on chill mode. And this is how, if a lot of us think back, this is how our grandparents' households ran. Grandpa was always chilling unless grandpa was fixing something. Grandpa was paying the bills, but grandma was the one running around the house, getting everybody in order, making sure this was taken care of, this was due, and that's taken care of, whatever. If she needed anything extra, then she messed with grandpa. Other than that, everybody kind of left grandpa alone, and grandpa he knew exactly what he was supposed to do, which wasn't really much. It was very specific. And then if things got to a certain level, like if he had to, if his representative needed to be enacted because of some type of exterior thing, then he would come into play then. But for the most part, his roles put him in a more chill mode, which a lot of men prefer to be in. Like, it was a very harmonious situation. We like to be super active. For the most part, they like to be super chill. So, and there's personality differences, so I'm not accounting for that, of course. So I'm saying that because we're accelerating into a space and time where we are actively participating in breaking down our families. And I think about this all the time. It bothers me. And it started off for sure when I started struggling with finding a proper mate. Let me tell you something. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but there is no reason on this God's good green earth that I should be single. Literally. There's no reason for it. I mean, and I'm not going to get into it in this video, but whatever so-called men claim that they want, specifically in our community, I have or had. And so when I started struggling with that, and then I started seeing differences in other communities, and then you add on top of that all the other social dysfunctions and ills and things that are really just getting out of hand, that's when I started seeing everything that I'm talking about, and other stuff I haven't even mentioned yet. So I just want to, leave this as a food for thought to think about. Again, I want the men to consider these things, because what they're missing is they keep trying to diminish and minimize a giant. And they keep looking down on these giants that take favor in them. These giants, like when they like them, oh, now they lost value. This woman chose you, and now she lost value because she chose you. She didn't choose him. She chose you. That is an honorable position. And we're taking on too many foreign ways, and making it so complicated to do one of the most basic things in life, and that is to come together, live, and love. Okay, it is not that complicated. And the dance and play that I'm gonna figure out that a little bit more, because I'm learning more about it. But I have a feeling that even though there's something there that I'm getting spiritual downloads about, I think that it's still dysfunction, but I haven't quite figured that out. And I'm talking about, specifically what I'm talking about is the cat and mouse game that you have to play with men in order to keep their interest. Something about it still feels incorrect. Trust me, I've had homegirls tell me straight up, you have to do this. You can't give them all your attention. You can't talk to them. You can't let them know you're interested. You got to make them work. You got to make them pay for this. You got to make them pay for that. They need to feel like they're invested. And something about it just doesn't feel quite right. Now, I'm learning and I'm getting why they're saying all this. And I'm not arguing with that, because I'm starting to get it. And when I look at my past situations, I see exactly that. But there's something not right about it. And I will figure it out, because I'm always on point. My spirit always puts me in the right direction. And so even though I'm starting to understand this is how they operate, I think that they are out of their natural organic minds. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm suspecting. I'm not sure about that. Because like I said, for me, I'm not interested in most males. Most men are boring to me. Most men do not hold my attention. I'm very paranoid with a lot of male activity. I'm just very exclusive. Don't touch me, don't walk up on me, don't really talk to me like that. I'm a little weird, okay? I get it. I know I am. So for me personally, when I like someone, I genuinely like that person. And I genuinely, when I let them in, I genuinely let them in. There's no whatever. So in my mind, it's so confusing. Why do I have to play the cat and mouse game like that when I already know I'm already playing it? I'm already in this big life playing the shit. I'm so confused. Because from my perspective, when I am into the person, I should be able to express that. And somehow that's not the way you're supposed to do it. So whatever, we'll discuss that in another time too, because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. So in any case, basically, I'm just saying we're making coming together just way too complicated. It's way too complicated. I got stories on top of stories. I got stories where I've had exes, their family members didn't like me because I want to say because I wasn't island. I want to say because I wasn't from the islands, but I was a good girl. I mean, I was loyal. I was clean. I wasn't promiscuous. I was smart. I was hardworking. I was everything that a mother-in-law would claim they would want for their son. But because they didn't pick me or I wasn't in there, I don't know. But they would destroy unions. So it's a lot of us out here doing this. It's not just, like women are encouraging men to abandon women. You know what I'm saying? Like we got some fixing to do, like straight up. Men have these weird, unrealistic expectations on women to fulfill. And then, of course, I hear the men in the background. Women also have these weird, unrealistic expectations, these weird desires or icks that certain men will do. And it's just, we're making it so difficult just to come to the table and do the basics so that we can have a stable situation. And I'm going to tell you right now, we are in that generation where the clock is running out. Like, this is the generation, this is the defining generation. And we are at the critical moment where we all have the ability to act. And we have the ability to shift the dynamic for the better. I want to say for the worse, but it's already tilted towards the worse. So I guess I could say, or allow it to remain in the trajectory that it's going, which is off a fucking cliff. And I don't think most of us want that. A lot of us claim we don't care. And, you'll have some that are genuinely feeling that way. But I think most of us kind of still want a healthy community unit. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to start in all of your personal relationships. Okay? Women can't just keep conforming to what men need. Men need to conform to women. Okay? Like, y'all are just off with this. Straight up. Like, if she needs to talk, you need to open your fucking ears and your mouth and talk. Like, we're not children. Like, you need to, like, what is going on with this? Okay? If she is feeling something, you need to realize, dude, you are missing part of your DNA. I'm not telling you to feel bad about yourself. Your existence is important, but you need to understand that you're dealing with a creative a source of life here, and she is having. Let me ask you this question: do you understand everything that God is and God does? And the reason why the answer would be no is because God is so much more than what you are. And so what I'm saying is she's so much more than what you are. So when she's having these experiences and you don't understand, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with her. There might be something wrong with you. And not simply because you don't understand. It's because you're not even trying to understand, right? Or trying to deal, right? So that's all I'm saying. Like, women, they can't be the only ones trying to, like, fix things. And, because do you know how difficult it is to deal with somebody who doesn't understand us? But we do it. We've been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Y'all got to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, get it together. You got to start having some self-love about yourself. Like, straight up, you are attached to the source of all femininity, the source of life itself. And you're attached to one of the most, potent, feminine, divine energies, which people keep referring to as a strong female, or woman, which is actually not a bad thing. We're just tired of being masculinized by everybody, but it's actually not a bad thing. Like, you are tied to, like, come on, yo, like, get it together, like, be happy about the beautiful gifts that the Creator has given for you. Like, you don't understand how blessed you are, and so annoying, so freaking annoying. Like, can we get this together, people? Can we come to the table? Can we make 2025 about marriage? Can we do that? Can we make 2025 not just about any marriage, about healthy melanated marriages? Can we do that? Can we make 2025 about brand new families? Can we do that? Can we, like, stop making everything complicated and find the right partner so we can literally build generational wealth? Can we do that? Can we just kind of move the table forward? 2025, I'm calling it. 2025 is about marriage, okay? Even if you don't get married in 2025, but we will. We're going to see so many marriages, so much melanated love in 2025 is going to make us lovesick.
But if you don't make it in 2025, you will make it in 2026, 2027. I am declaring it. I am decreeing it. It's happening, okay? Because I am sick of this thing that we're doing with each other. I'm sick of the way we judge each other. I'm sick of our lack of patience for each other. I'm sick of us of us hating ourselves, and it's coming out in how we're treating each other. I am over it. Like, okay, we know. Listen, we are broken people. We are hurt people. We are sick people. We have abused each other. Now, can we move forward into healing? And I'm sorry, but you're going to have to deal with the uglies when it comes to healing. You're going to have to know that you're going to be dealing with a broken partner. Okay. And so it's not that you're going to like it or you need to be abused. What it is that when you're dealing with it, you have to come to the table and stay at the table. Okay. You got to come to the table and not be abusive at the table. That's how you do it. Because the stuff is going to come out. It's going to happen. We did not put in the work to have perfect partners in perfect relationships. We didn't. Okay. The only way we get to that point, which means our children and their children will get the benefits of that, is if we put the work in now. Come on. This is math, people. This is math. That's what it is. It's math. I got to go to sleep because I got to go to work in the morning. I got to go to work. Peace.